So 1 week of COP21 has finished, and little progress was made, although there were some changes. The text has now gone from 54 pages down to about 48 pages, but there's been almost as much added as there's been taken out, and there's still major disputes outstanding. But the experts now are essentially going to be sidelined by the ministers who will be, and heads of delegations who will be taking over the negotiations from tomorrow, Saturday. There'll still possibly be some meetings in the morning, but then the text should be adopted and given to the ministers. Many have already been involved in the discussions, but now they will take over, and there'll have to be some very hard political decisions made. If the closing ADP, or the last ADP today on Friday, that considered substantive issues is any indication, there's still a lot of substantive questions to be answered and to be decided. For example, finance still remains up in the air, whether or not there'll be any mechanism for enhancing finance, whether or not the 100 billion will be the baseline or whether or not it will be the top amount of financing. Adaptation, as we noted yesterday, is still very problematic. There's been very little movement in adaptation, and nobody knows where the finance, capacity building, or technology for adequate adaptation will come from. In mitigation, there was quite a discussion today, but mainly to entrench the different sides that states have put forward, and very little give and take, instead mainly just re-entrenching of positions. What was a bit unusual is Article 2. Article 2, Paragraph 2, continues to have human rights in it, the right to health, sustainable development, and the right of people living under occupation. The United States stated that the purpose of the convention should be merely to achieve the goals in Article 2 of the UNFCCC. In other words, the objective of the convention, which is to keep greenhouse gases below a dangerous level. Also, we heard finally a report from the Kyoto Protocol group that was looking at, among other things, the amendments in the Doha Agreement, or the Doha amendments to the Kyoto Protocol. And we heard that only 55 countries have ratified that. This is the agreement that will govern the ambition on mitigation and adaptation of countries between now and 2020, almost 5 years from now, a very crucial period. However, the de minimis number of ratifications leaves a lot to be desired. Let's see if the ministers will have better luck at the higher policy level. Certainly, around the world, the demonstrations have put some pressure on them. But here, France has not only eliminated the demonstrations, as we noted yesterday, they put guards on the conference room doors, and civil society is no longer allowed into the rooms. Today, it was a bit unusual in that they did set up some overflow rooms so that civil society could watch the contact group meeting discussing the whole convention, or the whole agreement that we hope to achieve by the end of next week. But then they banned state parties from watching it within the overflow room. And just this evening we heard that the French Foreign Minister, Laurent Fabius, who is the president of the co-op, has decided to jettison his total responsibility for civil society, or observers as we're called in this process, and hand it over to the past president, Pujol Vador, the Peruvian Minister of Environment, who is still here observing and participating in the COP21. So let's see if things improve for civil society's access. But for the last 2 days, we have been locked out, and formally, since the beginning of this COP, civil society and observers have been locked out of the meeting rooms.